that structural design depends upon the environment here. So that is what one first factor has to be considered. Try to analyze what is going around you. Try to understand how things are changing in the economy of the country. Try to understand how competition is working in the in the industry. So I'll just give an example. Like Pepsi company and Coca-Cola company are two rivals. So here, whenever the Coca-Cola company comes out with a new product, immediately within few weeks or few days, even Pepsi company comes out with a new product competitive to that Coca-Cola's product. So how do they do this? Is it done within a day or a 2 days or 3 days or a week? It is not like that. They understand the competition. They know what is happening around them. They know how the competitor is working on certain things. So based on that, they also work and they try to meet the competition by immediately launching a counter product for the new product in the market. So until and unless you don't understand your environment, you'll never be able to react back to that environment as early as possible. So your structure of the organization should be designed in such a manner it reacts to the environment as and when needed. If it is late, then you are going to lose in the race of the competition. That is why whenever there are changes happening, at the same time you have to react to that environment. Somebody has not muted their mic. Nushrat, please mute your mic. Okay. Then there is one more called as organization strategy. So whatever plans or visions or missions you have framed for your organization, so based on that also it is going to influence the structure of the organization here. So strategy in the sense the company wants to meet the demands of the market as fast as possible. So here, if you use a centralized system of reporting, it becomes very difficult to meet the demands of the market as early as possible. So if the strategy is to meet the demands of the market or the customers at a very short period of time, that means you should depend upon centralized system in the organization. So if at all your decentralized system in the organization. So if at all you are using centralization, you have to shift to decentralized system so that the work can be done at a much faster manner. Organization size also matters here. Let us say if the organization is very, very big, let us say there are 10,000 employees in the organization. Can all the 10,000 employees report to only 10 people in the organization? It cannot happen. So here you need to have a systematic structure where reporting can be done at various levels in the organization. That becomes easy to get the reports, at the same time react and take decisions immediately. So if the size of the organization is big, it is better to have many levels in the organization structure. If the size of the organization is small, there a very less people are there at managerial level to whom the other employees are going to report to. So more bigger the size, more structured, and the levels will be more in the organization structure. And lastly, the technology part. If you're see, technology is something which also influences the structure of the organization. I'll tell you why. Let us say if the organization has shifted from the old traditional method of using people to work in the organization, right? They only will manufacture the, let us say a simple chalk is being manufactured. So when the chalk is being manufactured, and initially they used to do it with hand, but today technology has replaced people. So when new technology has come up, what will happen? It will reduce the number of employees in the organization. So technology can reduce the number of people, and also it will influence the structure in the organization. So there is something called as downsizing. Many organizations go for downsizing because of this technology upgradation. Okay, so if initially the car assembly line was totally dependent upon human resource, that is employees or workers, but today everything is automated, starting from fixing the engine till the glass of the window. Everything is automated in a car assembly line unit. So if there were 100 to 200 people working in that assembly unit, now today you hardly find 8 to 10 people working in that assembly unit. So the technological upgradations also bring changes or also influence the structural designs of the organization. So considering all these factors, the management or the OD consultant should ensure that the organization's structure suits these four factors, and then they can go ahead smoothly to give more better performance or productivity. This is an example of a functional structure where CEO or president is there. Under them, vice president of different departments will be there. Under them, managers or branch managers of different departments will be there. Under them, managers. Under them, supervisors. Under them, workers. So it is a simple structure which is divided based on the functions in the organization. It is up to the company which is more convenient for them. They can go ahead with it. Okay, so some companies they use a combination of structures. Okay, initially they go with product structure. At zonal level or state level, if they have any branches, they may use functional structure. Or else some companies, they at the larger level, they go for functional structure, and when they come to state level or zonal level, they use matrix structure. Okay, so sometimes individual structures can also be used, or a combination of these structures can also be used in organizations. So the main advantage of this functional structure is it promotes and develops the technical specializations. So as I was telling you, so when you see here, okay, so the whole team will be working under research, the whole team will be working under manufacturing unit only, and they don't have any other work. They will be concentrate on specified skills here. So for that reason, this functional structure is very much useful. It reduces the duplication of scarce resources. Sometimes, you know what happens in some organizations, at the top level there are let us say, I'll show you an example. Okay, so this is a divisional structure. See what happens here. For product A, I'll show this. For product A, there is sales, there is manufacturing, there is research. Again, for product B, there will be sales, there will be manufacturing, there will be research. Again, for product C, there will be sales, there will be manufacturing, there will be research. Okay, so three sales, three manufacturing managers, three research managers. So this kind of duplication of work you can find in divisional structure. But in functional structure, what happens? All the products will come under research, all the products will come under manufacturing, engineering, marketing. So, like that. So, by doing this, duplication of certain jobs or responsibilities will not happen in the functional structure. It also enhances the career development for specialists, especially when they are in larger organizations or departments. So, it gives an opportunity for people to expertise themselves in the same area for many years, and then that can, in turn, help the members of the organization to develop in the career. So, that is one more advantage which you can get. Then we have it facilitates communication and performance as supervisors share expertise with their subordinates. So here, because they are experts in their research area, or they may be experts in marketing area, so if they are only handling one product, they may not get that much of expertise. But the same person handling four products marketing activities, he is having more experience compared to a person handling only one product. Okay, from marketing of only one product. So these people can gain that expertise and can share that expertise to their subordinates also. It supports the development of common processes. Common processes are some simple processes like if it is HR department, all the recruitment, selection, training, development, appraisal, all these come under that HR department. So the people can concentrate more upon a particular task here rather than spread out. Okay, and if at all, see, you just imagine marketing for every product in the organization, it is very costly for the company also to hire such kind of people and maintain them. Then some disadvantages. Emphasizes routine tasks. Yes. It only concentrates upon one single task. Sometimes multiple task system may be needed in organizations. So here it cannot happen. And very short time horizons are given here. Of course, time is not given to the managers sometimes because they will be looking into many areas or many kinds of products in the organization. They may not get time to take decisions. But whereas if you look into this divisional structure, because this person, the vice president product A, is only handling sales, he can more concentrate upon a particular product, and he can speeden up his decision making time period. So that is the plus point in divisional structure, which you don't find in functional structure. Then it fosters narrow perspectives by managers, not business metrics and broader criteria for decision making. Yes, sometimes what happens, they have to concentrate upon more areas here. Okay, more products or a lot of responsibilities will be there on the managers, but at the same time they will be concentrating on only one area. Let us say if it is a matrix structure, okay, we'll be discussing it later. If it is a matrix structure, the people in the organization will be multifunctional in nature. Okay, so here they will be only looking after one single function. So that is what is narrowing the perspective of the managers here. They only concentrate upon only one area which they are in charge in, so they don't know anything upon about what is happening in other areas. So that should not happen in the organizations, a few organizations where it is not needed. Process cut across functions make coordination and scheduling more difficult. Of course, because it is functional based, every time for every processes you have to go and ask the head of the department to give you permission. So sometimes coordination and scheduling becomes difficult. So that is why I said organizations can use a combination of these structures to make it convenient at various levels. But here, if you are following only functional structures, these are few disadvantages. Accountability, of course, it obscures the accountability for overall outcomes. Managers and employees may not have a line to cite to business, as they will be only concentrating upon one area. They don't have a picture of how it is going to influence the whole business outcome. Okay, so they are only in charge of HR activities. They are only in charge of marketing activities. They can so if the organization does not perform properly, they will not take up that responsibility on themselves. So accountability sometimes becomes more difficult. But whereas in divisional structure, if you ask, okay, so if the product A has failed in the market, the vice president product A will be held responsible, and the people under him will be held responsible for the failure of that product in the market here. So that is the plus point of divisional structure, which you don't find in functional structure. Then these are some advantages and disadvantages. Now let us try to understand the divisional structure. So it is dependent. Divisional structure is based upon product division. So if there are different categories of product by the company, so based on that, the divisional structure works in. So it can also be called as product structure also. Okay, So, what are the main advantages here? It recognizes the sources of interdepartmental dependencies, reduces complexity. Uh, Here, as there is manager sales, manager manufacturing, and research. Let us say for product B, okay. So let us say for product B, somebody is not come or somebody has left the organization. Let us say manager sales has left the organization. So that time, product A sales manager can handle his job. So that beauty you can find in this divisional structure. Interdepartmental dependencies can be done because if let us say in functional structure, vice president HR only is not there or manager HR is not there. So nobody can replace him or nobody can do his job. But in divisional structure, it can be replaced or it can be done by some other department manager also. So that plus point you can find in divisional structure. It allows diversification and expansions of skills and training. Why? Because let us say for 5 months the person has worked in product A department. Later he can be shifted to product B department. After that again he can be shifted to product C department. So by doing so, what happens? He is more diversified and he gets trained in working in all the areas of the organization. Accountability becomes very easy here. The departmental managers or the head of that product division is going to be the total responsibility for the performance of that product. So that is one more advantage. No, you cannot blame anybody here. You cannot punish anybody here. Only the person responsible will be that particular department. That is the division. That is, let us say it is product A means if the product A fails in the market, only the people concerned to that product A are going to be affected or they are going to be promoted or demoted or whatever it is. It heightens the departmental cohesion and involvement in work because what happens is if people are working for only one structure, okay, that is one product A, so all these people work like a team. If the same person, let us say the sales manager is handling product, sorry, product A, product B, and product C, okay, so he has to handle all the three teams, becomes very difficult, right? So the bonding in the team members also may not be so strong. So that is why if at all it is based on division, that means people will start concentrating more upon their own work rather than concentrating upon multiple tasks here. Let us look into some disadvantages. It may use skills and resources inefficiently sometimes. I told you it is duplication of jobs here. So product A has three people, product B will be having three people, product C will be having three people. For some organizations, it may be costly also. And due to three sales managers, three manufacturing managers, three marketing managers, coordination across the divisions also sometimes becomes difficult for the management. It limits the career advancement by specialists to movements out of their departments because they are not able to move from one department to another, like from product A to product B. Maybe going up becomes difficult, and it also increases the competition between the people in the organization. So if there is vice president post vacant, so there will be manager sales, there will be manager of product B sales, there will be manager of product C sales. So all three people sometimes can compete to get that particular job. So that is one more, or else sometimes what happens, because he is in charge of only A, he may not be allowed to become a vice president of product B. So that can also happen. So career advancement is very slow in this kind of a structure. You cannot grow too fast, you cannot go to higher levels or move to higher levels very fast. It impedes the specialist's exposures to others, hard to create common processes. it is working on product itself. There is no common system here. So that is what I said. Sometimes for some organizations, functional structure is very suitable. Sometimes for some organizations, divisional structure becomes very suitable. So that is why, depending upon the nature of the strategy of the organization, the environmental demands, the size, you have to decide which structure suits your organization. It puts the multiple role demands on people and sometimes creates stress. Sometimes what happens, if in some companies the manager sales of product A is not allowed to handle product B. At that times what happens, the manager manufacturing or the manager research has to handle the decisions or the work of the sales manager. So sometimes it creates difficulties in the organization to coordinate with each other. Okay, the kind of movements are not there out of their departments. They cannot go out of the department, and they cannot uh, grow also. At the same time, they cannot, they are only allowed to handle their own products. They are not allowed to handle other products. By doing so, even he will not be exposed to get more expertise in that area. He will be only restricting himself to one product. He will not be exposed to other products or other processes in the organization, which makes him very a person with a very closed mind. That is something like a frog in the well. So that is what happens in this divisional structure. Sometimes it puts multiple role demands on people and creates stress. As said, as if the salesperson is not there, sometimes the effect is shown on the manufacturing or the research manager. Off, or if the product A, the sales manager is not there, the work is passed on to product B, sales manager. So sometimes extra workload has to be handled by other people, wherein it becomes stressful for the members of the organization. These people, the last point is line of sight is to business, divisional objectives or over organizational objectives. So what happens is, in functional structure, it will be observed as in large, right? Everybody will be concentrating upon meeting the organizational objectives. But in this case, they will be concentrating more upon divisional objectives. I will only worry about my product A. I will only worry about product B. I will only worry about my product C. So that is how it works in divisional structures, and that is not good and healthy for the business. As it is said, every member of the organization, whatever work or tasks he performs in the organization, everything should somewhere link to the organizational objectives, not your personal or departmental objectives. So that should not happen. But in divisional structure, sometimes it may happen. So that is why but in functional structure, everybody concentrates upon meeting the objectives of the organization. Next comes this matrix structure. So matrix structure is a very interesting kind of a structure here, where one person may be reporting to two people in the organization. Okay, so something like, let us say, okay, so here if there is under product B, sorry, if there are again three people who will be reporting under product C, right? Okay, so especially this person, if you try to concentrate on this person, okay, so this person sometimes may have to report to product B head also. Sometimes he may have to report to product C head also, due to some work responsibilities given or assigned to him. So that kind of structure normally you find in matrix system here. So here one person will be reporting to multiple people, because let us say the HR manager is handling three products. The HR manager is handling three products in the organization. Okay, so three products means he has to supply employees to all the products, product divisions, and he has to ensure that they are trained well. So that time what happens is, uh, he has supposed to report to his head vice president HR also. At the same time, he is also in charge of reporting to the product heads, that is the project heads. Okay, so if three products he is handling, there is vice president of every project there. So for to all those project heads, the HR manager is going to report. At the same time, he is also going to report to vice president HR or president HR. So that is why I said here multiple reporting system happens in matrix structure. It is a very complicated structure. If the company, especially multinational companies, where many projects they are working upon, there this matrix structure will be helpful. The best examples are the IT companies, where you find matrix structures at lower levels in the organization. You can use the people very flexibly here. As I said, one person may be doing multiple tasks here and reporting to multiple people here. So flexibility in using the people and multitask the people you can find more in these matrix structures. It maintains consistency by forcing communication between managers. Let us say one person, one employee is reporting to two people. That is, as I said, HR manager is reporting to vice president HR and the project head also. Okay, so two people he is reporting. It forces the vice president HR and the project head to establish communication between themselves. Otherwise, this employee who is reporting to both of them, he will be ineffective. Okay, so it forces communication between the managers or the heads of the organization. Otherwise, sometimes what happens, people will not see their faces also some for many years together, even though working in the same organization. Recognizes and provides mechanisms for dealing with legitimate multiple sources of power. So here you will learn to deal with multiple sources of power. You will be reporting to Vice President HR. At the same time, you will also be reporting to project head. So by doing so, what happens is you will be able to get more expertise of multitasking. Okay, so it can adapt to environmental changes. Of course, as I said, this is a matrix structure where reporting system is multiple in nature. So whenever needed, you can, when you are handling project A and you are reporting to project head of A product, you can always report to even product B's project head. Okay, so whenever needed, minor changes, modifications can be done in this matrix structure. But as I said, it is very complicated. It is also difficult to implement. The clarity of the role, the job, the responsibilities should be given to them, to the employees who are in multiple reporting system. So then only the things can be clear. Otherwise, it may lead to role ambiguity, stress, and anxiety. Role ambiguity in the sense, should I concentrate more upon HR job? Should I concentrate more upon project head's job? So both the people have given me work. So to whom should I concentrate upon? So this becomes difficult. Then performance is lowered because some people are unable to balance between both the jobs. Okay, here vice president HR also tells you work. Here project head also tells you some work. So doing both the work, you may not be able to bring some balance in your job. So that also happens. Makes inconsistent demands and can promote conflict and short-term crisis orientation. Yes, in let us say the vice president HR does not like the project head. Okay, simply he can put up inconsistent demands in front of his subordinates, and it may lead to some short term crisis in the organizations. It may also reward into political skills over technical skills. Both on competition basis, they may start asking the employee to work more harder for their departments. So that time the employee will be at the loss here. He will be in a fix here. He will be stressed out, and he may also sometimes think of leaving the job. So that is one more disadvantage of a matrix structure. So these are few structures in the organization which you can find and implement based on the requirements of the organization. So we are going to discuss more structures in the coming classes. Okay, so I'll stop for today. We'll discuss